dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in the daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, with vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group. Changed my whole perspective. Our success group, community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rising Tide Talks, the last day of July. Can you believe it?
No.
I cannot believe it. I'm Kylene with Rise, Shine, Smile, and I encourage transformation with positive energy.
I'm Becky Cutzer with BK Custom Tees, and I believe it takes a village to run a business.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group, and we are here to inspire you all to have an uncommon mindset so we build a business that we love, that we get to do each day, right? And so I'm going to hijack us real quick before we get into our topic here, because last day of July, right? We're kind of feeling it. Things are getting busy. I know lots of back to school stuff happening. I've talked to lots of people, and we're all feeling it a little bit, I think. So can we just do one thing? Can we get a little silly together real quick here? Let's just all take a really deep breath in and then a really deep breath out, and make sure that out breath is longer than our in breath, and just tells our autonomic nervous system it's okay. Let go of that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, because we have to let go of that for our brains to be able to operate. So one more time, big deep breath in. Big deep breath out. All right. Thank you for allowing me to do that. I was feeling a little bit too. And it gives me an opportunity. Kylene got me some pom-poms. I told a story about a mastermind call where one of the young ladies on our call, somebody said, hey, this thing happened. And she happened to have some pom-poms next to her because her daughter's in cheer. She's like, yay. And then I mentioned it, and Kylene bought me these OSG colors and everything. So,
Yay.
So
now we all need them.
Yeah. Let's just celebrate for 1 second. All right. Good. Thank you guys for doing that. All right, Becky, I apologize for hijacking.
No, I'm pretty sure it was needed for me, because today's been nonstop, and it's not going to quit yet. My evening still is full. So,
Gotcha.
well, we're glad you guys are all here. Our topic for today, we're continuing the rebrand series, maybe we'll call it. I don't know. It's too long here. So we're just wondering, is anybody considering a rebrand? Could be a name change, a new subsidiary, new logos. If so, why? Let us know in the comments if you're working on that, or if a rebrand has been in the back of your mind, or if which part of that you're working on. So Aaron, I know you have a little bit, not different perspective, another perspective that you wanted to work on from that rebrand part.
Yeah, and we'll get into talking about that, but I love your questions there, and I'd love to just encourage everybody to get involved in the conversation. It's not supposed to be talking heads. The whole point of Rising Tide Talks is the fact that it's a conversation, and having these conversations together, I think, is awesome. You guys in the comments really bring the gold, I guess, is the best way to put it. So, and then if I could ask people one more quick favor while I'm in the mood here of asking you guys to do something a little bit different, go over and share this. You just head to wherever you're watching it from, hit the share button, hit the like button, whatever. Make sure, bring somebody with you, right? The more people we get in this ocean, so to speak, the higher our tide is going to rise. And so if you guys would take a moment, and maybe you don't have to do it right now, but just make sure that every Wednesday we're showing up here at 5, and we want to keep growing this community of conversation that we're going to have. And so if you guys could do that, I would really appreciate that as well. And Darren says, I'm in the middle of rebranding. So there we go. So, and Rena says, yay for doing third quarter taxes. I'm trying to get excited. All right. Well, maybe the OSG song, that little earworm, will help you out, right? It'll kind of, I don't know. I just bop the whole time I hear it personally.
You better put that on repeat, Rena. That might help.
It might help for sure. All right, Kylene. Well, turning it over to you here. Help us get into that state of gratitude.
Yeah, we're gonna bring some positivity to our show tonight and just raise everyone's vibration and bring more positive energy. We use gratitude because when we focus on and really appreciate what we do have, we get more of that and we start attracting more. So if you're listening, please share what you're grateful for today in the comments. Becky, do you want to start with what you're grateful for tonight?
I'm grateful for time at the moment. I'm glad I have it. But first, I'm grateful for the helper I have. She has come in and helped me knock through a bunch of shirts. We've got 2 busy weeks of tournaments and shirts and all, just
oh boy,
whatever. So she's been fantastic. And second, I just want to say I'm grateful for my son. He'll probably never see this, but in amongst all of this chaos, he sends me a message and wants to know if I can want to go to a movie tonight. And I'm like, and I had lots of encouragement from a couple of their moms that I was sitting with, and they're like, yes, you need to go. And I'm like, yes, I know I need to go. So I think we're still going to go to a movie tonight yet.
There you go. Wow.
So
proud of you. That's awesome.
All right. So let's see here. Chuck said, I did mine in the beginning of the year talking about the rebrand. Karen added, I'm grateful for the 2,900 in my GoFundMe for my husband. She's got an amazing community. So very good. Michelle's adding, I'm grateful for just one more day of work until vacation. Yeah, sounds like awesome. It's going to be a great time, Michelle. So glad that you get that opportunity. Kylene, are you going to share next?
Yeah, I can share. I'm grateful for you, Aaron. I don't know if that.
Yeah.
Aaron has been really kind of stepping up because I have been, when I'm at work, I can't take Lou to all his things, and Aaron's really been just there for our family. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's amazing. That's one of the great parts of business ownership is that I get to make those decisions. If I want to, spend an hour at the doctor's, and then, Lou and I decided, hey, let's go grab some lunch together. So take advantage of that opportunity. So I am going to add that I am grateful for Kylene for sure. She's keeping our household together. She's actually earning a living for us so we can pay the bills while I'm rebuilding our success group. So a rebrand here. So I'll raise my hand and put in the hat, so to speak. Not a rebrand, but redoing our programs. So that certainly grateful for Kylene. I'm going to add in a bonus one here. I'm just really grateful for our son. He is 13, kind of navigating the challenges of being in middle school, which is probably some of the, don't tell him this, but probably some of the hardest times that he'll go through. I know high school can be a challenge too, but middle school is just that awkward age, I think. And so I'm really proud of him. We went to his annual checkup thumbs up across the board. The nurse was super impressed with how well he communicated, and just they asked him, what's your plans? What's your goals? And he's like, oh, I'm going to be an astrophysicist, and I'm going to go to Stanford or Caltech. I'm like, oh, all right, there you go, buddy.
He dreams big. I love it.
Yeah. So Chandler says, I'm grateful for not being in middle school. I know, the joke.
Me too.
Yeah. But we've been there, done that, right? We
and we all survived.
That's right. We did. Hey, but just keep the gratitude coming, guys. Let's definitely lean into the things that we are grateful for, like the specifics, not the backhanded, things I'm not grateful for, the things that didn't happen, but like really being positive. Not only is this awesome to lift up our community as a whole, but it is also awesome for you internally to be able to kind of just feel it, right? When we feel that gratitude, the things that we can accomplish, the what we can do with, it's a superpower. And I know Kylene's talked about this in OSG Live before, and we talk about it a lot here, but I just want to keep it coming. You can't be overly grateful, right?
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Very true.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to finally transition us in here to our topic. So really, again, we talking about kind of the idea of a rebrand. I've already hit on the fact that, it can be a lot of different things. So we'll get into more of that. But Becky, let's dive in.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Well, you know what? That perfect opportunity here. So Sarah says, I'm really grateful for being the person that I can be today. That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm personally really grateful for all that you're doing for your community and the people you're supporting with your nonprofit. Plus, you've built a really awesome space that we've been able to enjoy over there at 80/20 as well. So grateful for you. All right. Sorry, Becky.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I was
you're fine.
Multitask, and I thought Aaron would talk longer, so I thought I had time.
I normally do, don't I?
So we're going to go back to our topic. We're still talking about rebranding. Last week we talked about websites and rebranding our websites. This week it's rebranding your business in general. So if you missed it earlier and you're in the comments now, please comment in there if there's, if you're working on any kind of rebranding, whether it's a name change or adding a subsidiary or a branch, or even if you're just working on a new logo or something, let us know what you're doing and why. What's the reason that you're doing that rebrand? Yeah. So, did I miss anything?
No, I think you got it all. And I think that's really good that you share. Again, a rebrand can look like a lot of different things, from like you said, a name change, subsidiary, even, like I mentioned with our success group, we're redoing the programs, kind of the products and services. So that can kind of be a little bit of a rebrand, just making sure that we're more aligned with our values and who our ideal customers are, that type of thing. So I am excited to hear from people if they are and what their reason behind, Chuck, you mentioned earlier, I did mine at the beginning of the year, right? So tell us why, why was that important for your business? Darren, you mentioned that you're going through it right now. So curious as to your why. I think I know because you and I've talked, but I think everybody else would be curious to know the why behind that. And then we'll get to Sarah's in just one second, because here's where this came from, right? Becky and I were talking about this, and I get to work with a ton of people on building a business that they love. And as we do that, right, we go down and we're kind of rebuilding the foundation. And many times they kind of had this realization that kind of leads them to believe that they need to do a rebrand of their business, right? The new name, the new logo, even a new website like we talked about last week. But like last week, I think we need to look at this from a high level, right? Is a rebrand really going to move you forward, or are you just adding an extra task to your plate, right? Because sometimes a rebrand comes from our creativity is sitting there going, hey, I want to play with new logo, right? I want to make some new sales material, right? I want to get into Canva and do some things, right? So we're not labeling anything here. We're just exploring some of these things so we can really make sure that our time is being spent wisely, right? Becky, you were talking about how much you've got going on. So, and I know you're not necessarily right now, but those types of things, like, is this really a good idea? And I'm not saying that it's not. So please don't, any of these questions that I'm asking or that we're asking here as we talk through things, this is not a saying, hey, don't do this or do this. It's more about let's discuss it and make sure that it's right for you. So where do you want to dive into this, Becky? Actually, you know what, if you don't mind, Kylene, is there anything that kind of comes out of all this that
I think it's really coming back to your why. Like if you're feeling that your business and where it's at, your brand doesn't really feel right to you inside, maybe it's time to let go of something. Maybe it is time to revisit and do a rebrand a little bit to better match you and what you are wanting to accomplish and meet your needs of your customers. I think it's just important to know that sometimes it's okay to let go and to be aware, like Aaron said, are you doing it just to kind of do it because you have fun with the creative side of it?
Yeah. And again, not labeling that in any way, shape, or form. That's not bad or whatever. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to let the creativity out, right? So definitely. So, all right. Well, Becky, do you want to take this one or you want me to take this one?
You define what you mean by rebrand. Well, I think mainly what we're talking about here is if you are, I don't know, I was looking at it, obviously you can change a logo, but also, finding your why and changing your course of what your business is not so much what you're doing, not the products you're making, but just what's the word I'm looking for? The angle or the path that you're going to take your business on.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about finding your why and finding your why will lead to so many open doors, I guess is how I've seen it since I've found my why. And I had actually, I'm going to use rebranded loosely because all I did was change my logo there and didn't rebrand stuff. But
Nick, you're good. So and I'll take that one step further, Becky, if you don't mind.
Yep, go for it.
Because I think what we're talking about here tonight is I'm definitely using it very loosely. Like you said, it can be the angle, but I think ultimately if I were to have to boil it down into one thing, it would be, what is your company's personality and how is that represented? Right. And so, we'll get into that a little bit deeper in part 2, I believe, actually. But I think you did a great job there, Becky. So if there's any other thoughts that you want to go with there, or if we want to start getting to some of these comments here real quick.
Please, let's go to the comments because Nick has me very distracted at the moment.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Nick. Well, we're going to put him on camera if he's not careful.
I know. Well, he keeps trying to cover my camera. So if you see that happen, that's what's going on.
All right. So here we go. All right. Well, let's start with Chandler's. She says, I'm doing a rebrand on making my why come to life at the grace period, remembering that I am there for the people, not for the people I work for. Right. And so, that's really powerful. Again, what I talked about earlier, right? When we get to work with people on getting this foundation rebuilt, a lot of realizations start happening. Like, I was kind of maybe straying down a path that wasn't right for me. And so I need to represent that differently now, right? So let's see here. Karen says, we updated our logo about 4 years ago. My graphic designer felt that we needed just a change in the font. In 2021, we started an additional publication website, not enough planning. So we're back to just a website for Colorado. Yeah. And Karen, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about some of the conversations you and I have had about, who your ideal customer is, because that's another part of a rebrand that we haven't really talked about. And I think Darren really is thinking about this in his rebrand. Previous name was Von Scorpion Customs to Firehouse Inc. is where he's going. He's going to Firehouse Inc. Reason being, I'm working on directing the business towards the firehouses and the departments, and if you don't know Darren like I do, which I'm fortunate to get to know him, he is a firefighter as well. And he, it's like, come on, Darren, you gotta, these are the people, right? So he's leaning into that, and I'm really proud of him for doing that. Darren says Von Scorpion Custom was directed more towards doing custom anything, which again, cool, but is that really where your business needs to go? So leaning into a rebrand makes a ton of sense. So, all right, I know I'm still talking here, but I want to make sure I get all of all of the comments. Chuck says it started with a new logo, so it could be used across different items, and I wasn't happy with the website. So there we go. Okay. So anything on any of that? I know I just covered a lot of ground there. Kylene, you want to start?
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking like how powerful it is to know how you're delivering your services, whatever you're offering to your customers, and is it in line? For me with yoga, I'm teaching it online, but I also am doing in person, but I'm finding more of my customers are wanting in person. So I'm trying to change a little bit of my focus, and I guess that's not necessarily a full rebrand, but it's changing a little bit on the delivery of my services to meet my customers' needs a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's good. Becky, anything else for you there?
No, I'm going to just keep us going here a little bit.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to get caught up and get my brain back. I probably should have a couple more deep breaths.
We can do that anytime. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So I think we've covered this idea of what a rebrand might look like, and we are kind of covering a wide swath here. But I also think we should talk about this idea of why we're doing it, right? Mm-hmm. And understanding what your ideal customers needs, plus aligning it with your brand, right? Your voice, your personality. Now, if that sounds familiar, if you tuned in last week, right? So Becky, does that sound a little bit familiar?
A little bit familiar, yes. Yep.
But what might that mean if there's any differences? Last week we were talking about a website. Now we're kind of talking about brand from a kind of 30,000 foot view. Is anything different there for you?
I think they're all tied together, I guess, for me, which is why we kind of wanted to talk on this side of it also. If, again, like you said, if you're just playing with logos to play with logos, that's one thing. It's another if your vision has changed a little bit, or your business is taking either a full pivot or just a slight turn.
Yep.
Things need to be looked at to that point. So
yeah, love it. All right, and then I guess Kylene and Becky, if you guys have thoughts here, do our customers care? Right? Like, how do we determine that? How do we juggle that balance of, hey, I'm making a new logo, I'm doing pretty this, and we talked about new website last week, right? Like, do your ideal customers really care, and when too, right? I think that's the other part. Like, oh my gosh, I have to change everything versus can I ease my way into this? So I'm just going to throw that up in the air and let one of you take a swing at it.
Well, I mean, I think your customers are giving you feedback all the time. And so if you're listening and paying attention, when you are hearing that they're needing this change and you rebrand a little bit to meet their needs, share that with them of why you're doing what you're doing. If, your ideal customers, you're there for them. And so just keep coming back to that appreciation, telling them I'm making these changes to better serve you and things like that, I think is really ultimately, if we don't have a business, if we don't have our customers, right? So that's why we're there. And so just reminding them that things might look a little different, but it's just to better serve you or something like that.
Sure. Like that.
I agree. I think the only time that they're going to probably overly care is if they aren't able to get what they need from you based on what's being put out there. And that's when you're going to start listening to your customers, because they're going to tell you that they can't find what they need, or you're going to lose customers because they can't find what they need or can't get what they need from you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Kylene, let's talk then a little bit about why might it be needed, right? Like we may have been, I don't know. I think I was probably leaning into some of the reasons why you might want to think about it a little bit more before diving into it. But what are some of the kind of, maybe, I don't know, telltale signs is what's coming to mind right now as it could be time for a rebrand, quote unquote.
Yeah. You may find that people just aren't connecting to your message anymore. Maybe business isn't growing. It's kind of stagnant, or maybe you're finding, I mean, your customers are somewhere else. Maybe you're wanting to enter a different market. Kind of what Darren was saying, he wants to focus in more on this side of what he does. And so he's meeting their needs. So a rebrand helps us really just be in alignment, I think, with what we're offering. So there's so many different reasons, our life changes, our needs change, how people buy change, where they buy change. So it's really paying attention to that and adjusting from there.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Becky, any other thoughts there?
No, I totally agree with Kylene. I think that just as we grow in our business, things change, and sometimes that just requires us to have that little bit of growth with our brand also. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think you can add to that too. I agree with what you guys are saying there. And we can add to that too, as again, Darren is a great example here, understanding where to focus, right? What's important to the people that we start a business. A lot of times we go out there and we want to, be all things to everybody. And so we've got this overall umbrella scenario. And we realize that is a uphill battle that is going to require way more time, energy, and ability than you have in that moment, right? And so maybe you run across a program like this, you join the OSG community, and you start understanding, I need to actually design my business for me, my why, my purpose, and I need to find the right ideal customers that go along with that, right? And so I think there's another area, again, like Darren, our success group a few years back went through a bigger kind of overall rebrand, new logo, new website, all that kind of stuff. And I think, for us, we've really landed on what it is that we're supposed to be doing, right? We're supposed to be inspiring people to fall deeper in love with their business by using the fundamentals. So from a rebrand perspective for us, not a big need to change there, but I also am understanding that who we can serve, right? We're getting more and more clarity on that every day. And so there's some, changes that need to be happening with our products and service offerings, that kind of thing. So anything else there before we hit some of these comments? Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. I know I'm talking a lot tonight, but this is an area that all of these areas are areas I love to talk about. Who am I kidding? All right. All right. Well, let's get Karen's comments here. So she says, my why has not really changed since I started the publication. I love what I do. However, it does need to change its path as business has dropped off due to the type of business we have. And I think I know I've said this before, but I will continue to say this over and over again. Our why never changes. Okay. My personal belief is that our why never changes. I think it evolves, and I think we get better clarity to it and better understanding. But I'm pretty sure, whatever that is for you, God, source, energy, universe, whatever, God put us on this earth for a specific reason. What we do personally, what we do in our business, it's all the same, and that's never going to change. We just get better understanding, and as our life changes, how we express what we do changes, right? And things change, like with Karen here, the path has changed, needs to change because business has dropped off. People aren't necessarily buying traditional magazines anymore, right? So things need to change, but the why, the reason that she's doing it hasn't changed. So again, I think a really good purpose for potentially rebranding a little bit or making it, making some changes there. So, and then Karen says, after listening to you guys, I obviously need to rebrand. I need a major pivot. It's discovering how this will happen. Yeah, for sure. I like this thought. Becky, you want to share Sarah's thought there?
Sarah says rebrand equals recharge to me some days.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. And I like that too.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, I think we've covered kind of the first point, unless you guys have anything else, or do you guys want to take a quick break here?
think we're good to
break quick.
Okay, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and cover the second part of this topic here.
Hi, I'm Kylene.
And I'm Aaron from our Success Group.
We understand that feeling of knowing something is holding you back.
Are you watching others succeed and wondering what they have that you don't? There's a secret locked away inside of each of us, yet we never think about fixing it because it has to be something external from ourselves. It is the limiting belief that everyone wants to just push aside and try to hustle and grind harder to get there. But the truth is, those limiting beliefs are keeping you from asking for help, from taking the next step, or doing the action needed to move your business forward.
The sooner you can identify what's holding you back, the sooner you will start achieving your goals. We make sure to provide a safe environment, free of judgment and full of support as you go through this process. We hope you make this investment in yourself and unlock your potential so you can find more meaning and success in your life.
Okay. I wanted to share that. I'm not going to say one last time because we'll probably share it again, but I thought it was important for us to share it tonight. So if you're a live audience right now, or you're watching this on July 31st, 2024, today is the last day of the introductory price. So you're going to save yourself $32 by buying today versus buying tomorrow. We're not here to try to sell you something per se, but we know that this is a tool that, in fact, all three of us here have used it. I know Karen has been through it. And she was telling me the other day how she loved how it just was there to support her, lift her up, and help her rewrite those stories. How connected she felt, but yet comfortable because it's on her own time and pace. Nobody else is there in front of her, but the comfort there. So, she says it's a great program. Go for it. So,
absolutely.
All right.
Very, very much recommend. Highly recommend.
Love it. Okay. Well, Becky, let's get into the second part. So where do we head here?
Well, with the rebrand here that we've been talking about, it's like, what gets you the most excited about possibly rebranding your business? Or what does your existing brand say about your company? What do you love about your brand? We want to, you guys have, those that are now my tongue's all tied too. Those of you that are rebranding, like what's the most exciting part about that rebrand? Darren, you're changing, not only the name and obviously the logo, but what part of that rebrand gets you the most excited about having that rebrand happening? And Chuck, you said you did some rebranding earlier in the year, like what made that be the most important thing?
Yeah. I love that. Great questions, Becky. Really great questions. Sarah, there's that link, by the way, osg.link/unlock. You should be able to click on it there, I believe. So, okay. Yes. I'm really curious to hear from you guys for sure, I think. And again, even if you're not thinking about a rebrand, right? Okay, that's fine. I'm still interested in hearing what Becky asked there about, like, what's exciting about your brand, right? Like, how does it display who you are, right? And so I guess what we want to talk about here is whether you're rebranding or not, like, what does making our brand strong in our business mean, right? So I guess let's start off by talking about what is a brand, right? So anybody want to tackle that first?
I mean, like you said at the very beginning, you explained it like a personality of the business. How does this business make you feel? It's kind of your brand, right?
Yeah.
When you go there, when you shop there, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're excited? Do you feel like taken care of? Do you feel supported? Whatever kind of service you're offering, that's what lives and breathes with your brand. And it's not, you go to businesses and when you don't feel like that connection. And so maybe your message isn't clear enough. So it really is that personality, my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, Becky, on that?
No,
Okay.
I agree. I mean, I think your brand is just truly you shining through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go. I love that. That's dead on right there. Both of what you guys said is perfect. And I think what gets kind of clouded in it is we think about the brand in the the nuts and bolts, the tactile stuff, right? My business card, my logo, the website, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And while those are part of your brand, really those are a representation of your brand, right? Like blue and gray is the OSG kind of colors brand, but that means something, right? It means something to me. That's the type of people I'm trying to attract that are drawn to that kind of thing, so that brand, as far as our logo, our website, et cetera, that really is a representation of what our values are, personality, that kind of thing. So let me see if we got a couple questions here. So I was going to say, I'm my brand in a way. I think, yeah. So Becky, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I mean, just like I said before, I mean, your brand shows through, that's just the first picture that people see before they see you. I mean, yeah. And then they start connecting that brand and you and back and forth, you know. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah, and Karen agrees. Yes, I believe we are the brand. Kylene, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I totally agree, 100%. Yeah.
And Darren shares a brand as a name or a logo that causes someone to immediately identify it. Yeah. And I love what Becky said there too, because think about some of the other things, like a rising tide talks, the rising tide lifts all boats, right? That's part of the OSG brand, right? That's part of the community that we want to create and be a part of, right? Fundamentals, right? The fact that the book title, is got fun in all caps, right? That's part of our brand. Yeah, we can be serious. Yeah, we know that there are tough challenges that we got to get through, but we're going to get through it by having a little bit of fun along the way, right? I mean, I'm going to tell a dad joke. I'm sorry. It's going to happen. So I think that's really good stuff there too. Okay, let me see what else we got in here. Chandler says, oh, snap. That is true in a way. Our color scheme is blue, gray, and black. Yeah, exactly. So they're just a representation of how you want people to feel when they come in contact with your brand. Yeah, love it. Okay, so Becky, what do we need to kind of get into then when we start talking about building this brand or rebranding per se?
Well, I want to grab Chuck's, because I think Chuck's comment here will lead us right into the next spot. But he says, my reason for the rebrand was my logo was not printer friendly, and I think my website was unappealing. So, when you go to rebrand, those are things that you want to think about. Like, you're not just Chuck's obviously not just making random changes and, what needs to be changed and when, and he's, realizing that logo wasn't printer friendly, which is, something that unless you're in the decorating industry, you don't think about some of that until you've been in doing some of that too. So, but what changes need to happen and when's a good time to make it happen. The other thing I do want people to realize that, sometimes, and I think I said this earlier, sometimes you need to refresh your logo, even if your business or your brand of it's not changing, as business grows, we sometimes need to grow too, out of our initial branding. I did that. Maybe I can go post in the group later, with, my current logo and my initial one and get some comments back about it. I thought my initial one was fantastic when I started. I absolutely hate it now. I love how mine has evolved now with where, how I got it. And I had, once I even started making that, and then it evolved from there a little bit. But, those are the things that get me excited. I'm the creative side. I love to work with that logo, but I didn't rebrand just to rebrand. I knew that it needed to be refreshed. And I was at a point where my business has been growing. I've been growing. My why came through, and that logo just needed to have a refresh. So, make sure you're doing that too a little bit.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Becky, it's so interesting that you're saying that, because it needed a little refresh, but there's also something emotionally, right? We have to sometimes emotionally detach from like it just helps us, right? When our success group went through our full-on rebrand, a big part of that was again, understanding who we serve better, really kind of grabbing a hold of what our values were and fully living them and that kind of a thing. And so kind of getting rid of the old, out with the old, in with the new was a really great way for me to feel like we're on the right path.
Yeah.
Right. So I was more motivated. I felt like we were doing the right things. That before wasn't that I didn't feel like we were doing the right things. It just wasn't, there were things about it that didn't feel right. Right. And so had to make changes. And Kylene will attest to this. I'm pretty hardcore about, like, I had all sorts of shirts, all sorts of stuff, mugs, the whole nine. I don't want any of the old logos around anymore. I just, and it has nothing to do with I hated the logo or anything like that. It's just, that wasn't me. That wasn't what our success group was all about. That didn't represent us the way that, and so the logo doesn't matter. It's the feeling that comes along with it. Right. And so that kind of refocus, start anew. I love that idea. So,
and I love Darren's comment here where he says, I'd say the most exciting part is also the scariest. Exciting being able to focus more, and the scariest being saying no. And I think that is something for you, Aaron, too, because when we've been going through this, OSG rebrand and refocus, that big part of, the exciting part of getting it going and doing stuff has also been the stopping point and the scary part of taking that next big step to move it in that direction. So I totally get that with Darren.
Yeah, that is a great one, Darren, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Let's get Karen's comments before we dive into some other stuff here real quick. Karen says, I love horses and horse people. I love sharing stories about horse people in the community, special programs to help riders and equine businesses. It's about the people in the industry. And then she goes on to say, our name says Horse Source, which is more about finding information and being a resource. We haven't done that as well as we could. Right. And so, but that's the cool part, right? There's an opportunity. What could we do? I love that she used the words could instead of we should. So Kylene, any thoughts there?
I mean, again, it just comes back to being in alignment with what your mission is. And we know when we're out of line. We know when we're out of alignment, because it's the feeling that we have that you guys have shared, the feeling you have when you connect to your logo, when you see it, it gives you a feeling, right? And then what's that going to do? It's going to allow you to have a better message to your customers because you're clear about what you're talking about. You're passionate about what you're talking about. It will come through when it all matches. So that's why, sometimes it's okay to let go and adjust a little bit and tweak and grow, because that's what we do, right? We just continue to grow and learn.
For sure. And this can be a lot of too about, just making the most important thing. I'm going to actually use some information that I have about Karen because we're friends. She can get mad at me later if I'm overstepping my bounds. I don't think I am. But, when you look at, our name says Horse Source, right? Now, she was originally from the Northwest, so it's Northwest Horse Source. She put her logo or her website in there for Sarah, for Chandler. And, but sometimes again, we have to refresh, right? We have to kind of let go, right? She lives in Colorado now. So, don't let, Becky, you were just talking about that with me, right? That we can't let these changes be the scariest parts, the fear of missing out, the fear of having to say no, that kind of thing, right? So just be the Horse Source and live that brand in everything that you do. Make the most important thing, which is your reason and your why, right? So this is why I get so excited. Everything always comes back to our foundation. It's crazy how simple it is, but how hard it is for us to do it. So, all right. Do you want to get Michelle's comment here, Becky?
Yep, I sure can. Michelle says, no one remembers my business name, and then others recognize me when they see the daisy. And Michelle is the daisy patch for anybody that doesn't know. And I had a hard time remembering hers at first too, but I do have it now. So I think it's back to, I think our mind thinks, okay, well, we've posted something, everybody's seen it. Well, if you post it once, not hardly anybody has seen it. And, I think we talked about this in our meeting the other day. We talk about, okay, you're watching TV or the Olympics or whatever you're watching. I mean, how many times do you see the same commercial over and over and over and over? And we're worried about posting something too much. And I think the consensus was you just can't post too much.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but for the most part, you can't.
You try. And let's be honest. I'd like to see people try to post too much, right? But like you said, in an hour-long show, you see the same commercial, 5 times, 6 times, something like that. And we're worried about posting, more than a couple times a week. So I love that. That's a really good point, Becky.
Yeah. Michelle, before we lose this, I want to just say, Michelle said because she wished more would realize their logos aren't always printer and embroidery friendly. And that is something with, as I've grown in my business, I've learned a lot about that. So
yeah, it is pretty interesting. We're attracting more people than just the decorators community that I've been a part of for so long. And so it's great to make sure that, everybody knows, consult your local embroidery or screen print or vinyl,
or talk to us.
Ask us and we'll go, that's going to be a little hard at doing, this. Yeah. And with Michelle, again, does a daisy represent her? If people are starting to associate with her, then that's great. If I remember right, and Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, you purchased an existing business, and I think you kept the name because of what it was, how it was known in your area. Michelle, if I'm wrong on that, I apologize. That was just what's in my brain right now. So, there's something to be said there too, right? And how do we decide when it's time to make a rebrand? Okay, I bought the business, but it doesn't really represent me and who I am, right? How can you make that? But, with Daisy Patch, Michelle is happy. She's sweet. She's caring. She's kind. She reminds me of a daisy. So I get it. Right? She has a daisy smile too, Sarah says.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So it makes sense. So sometimes we just have to own it and lean into that. But again, the logo, the picture and stuff like that doesn't mean anything. It's how we use that to represent ourselves. And what we're all about. So, all right, Kylene, are there other things that we need to be thinking about here to kind of close this out?
Yeah, I think you really have to think through the plan of how you're going to execute your rebrand and understand, is there really a good reason to change? And really get clear on that, because if you do make some of these changes, there can be costs that come about. And so it's really looking at, again, the bigger picture. If I make this change, all of a sudden I have all these new expenses, all this time committed here. Is it really necessary? So having that clear plan moving forward, so you don't have those unexpected surprises along the way.
Yeah.
Not to say you can't do it, but have the plan. So maybe you do a little bit here, and here, and you spread it out over time.
Yeah. Well, I was just giggling because, hanging out with a bunch of printers here, in a way, as printers, especially if you're somebody that does B2B work, you want them to rebrand as often as possible. Oh, you need a new mug? Okay, let's do that. Right. But I think, understanding that, right? Heck, that could be a business model right there. If you're somebody that just loves this idea of what a brand and representation and how that works, and you're a printer, just go out there and instead of talking about the stuff, right? The coffee mug or the t-shirt, they don't care about that. What they care about is, we want to represent our company in a way that makes people feel special. And you come in as a printer and you help them with their rebrand. And then guess what? Now you make all the stuff for them and they hand you a blank check. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
So if that happens, I only want a small commission, just tiny commission. All right. Anything else, Becky, that we missed there, or any other areas we needed to cover before we close this out?
No, I think we hit it pretty good again this week.
I do too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kylene, then let's take this home here.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys all for being here and joining us, and just being part of our conversation. Like we said at the beginning, we get inspired by you all, and we're all in this together. We do. Entrepreneurship can be lonely. So when we're together and growing and learning together, we all are going to have more success. So make sure that you join us over in our Facebook group, Fall in Love with Your Business. So osg.link/group. You can join us over there. We'd love to continue this conversation there if you want, or if you have something new or questions or just curious, share those in the group. And there's amazing people over there, and we all just want to help each other be successful.
Yep. So my reminder for everybody is the secret here is that to take consistent action, productive action, right? So that's why a lot of times I get really deep into this. Why are we doing this? Are you sure that you need to spend a half a day redesigning your logo, right? Like,
Again,
I'm not saying that you don't. I'm just saying, let's make sure, right? So that's what productive action is all about. But it is really about taking consistent action. So we can talk all we want here, and the great conversation that we have is only going to be as valuable as what you guys go and do with this information. So whether it's tending to your mindset, making sure that you're confident, you're ready to share, whether it's clarifying your reason, that why that we've talked about so much, setting clear goals, or embracing focus, right? The small steps that we take each day will lead to significant progress. Action beats inaction every time. So just going to throw that out there, close with that. As Kylene said, keep the conversation rolling over in the group. I've still got it up at the bottom there, osg.link/groups. I know I asked a favor at the beginning. If I can ask another favor, it's probably 4 or 5 by now, so I'm maybe running out of them, but I'm going to keep going. Invite people into the group. I know many of you that we're interacting with here, you're in the group, but invite other people in, and just make sure that you tell them, hey, just make sure that you agree to the rules. We still have people waiting that are not in yet because they haven't agreed to the rules yet. We've even messaged them and said, hey, all you got to do is agree to the rules. So let's get more people in there. Again, our tide can't rise until we get build up. All right. So let's build this community up together, and appreciate you guys doing that for us over there at osg.link/groups.
Yep. And for me, I wanted to say, I'm not going to apologize for being completely scatterbrained, but I am going to appreciate the grace that's been shown this week. We're in the middle of baseball tournament season and our local boys have back-to-back state tournaments. So I'm a little overwhelmed, but I just appreciate the grace for it this week. But I want you guys to not forget about that power of community. We've talked about the Facebook group. We're all in it together. I've seen some great conversations over in the Facebook group. I think it's wonderful to see somebody will put a post and everybody can kind of comment to either agree or lift them up if they need that. We're sharing the experiences and we're learning together. But don't hesitate to engage. We have so many people in there that I haven't seen comment yet, and I would love to see them start engaging in that conversation with our fellow entrepreneurs. And if you're so inclined, we would love to have you part of the mastermind groups. We're looking to try to grow those and participate in some discussions. So we just want to build that, we want to build that village.
Yeah.
We had it written elsewhere, but I like the word village. I'm going to say we're going to build that village too.
Love it. Love it.
Let's just remember that that rising tide lifts all boats. I don't think we have a topic picked for next week.
Yeah, we don't. Let me throw this out actually. So again, you guys get to be part of this. This is about the discussions that you need, that you want, that are going to help your business. So before I ask that, I wanted to throw that out there. Rena says, I remember those baseball summers, enjoy every minute.
I don't have much left. So yes, I do.
Sarah says, am I part of the master groups? Send me a link. So we're kind of running toward the end of our Fun Live kind of group. So yeah, let's see if you want to continue that. We'll send you over to Masters of Success and check that out. So yeah, I'll reach out, Sarah. In fact, I think we're getting together next week. Kylene, is that right? Yep. Good. Yep. And Michelle says, yeah, I did buy an existing business, but changed the name. Okay. Had the business 8.5 hours already. Okay. All right. So here's the potential topics that we've got right now. Doesn't have to be one of these, but typically it's a little easier for you guys if we do multiple choice. We'll talk about anything that you guys want, though. So comment in the group. Here's the 3 topics that I think we can kind of pick from. And so number 1, focusing on a niche. And these are not in any order other than this is the order I'm looking at it on my screen over here. So don't take my order as like, oh, this is where we're going to go. Focusing on a niche. Finding balance would be another option. Just how do we find that balance and why it's so important to us? And then a topic that came up inside the group today that I think we can expand on a little bit. It's utilizing a second brain. So I'm not going to give too much away, but the idea is how do we keep track of things? Our second brain would be maybe a digital planner. A lot of times for me, my second brain is the planner I carry with me, but I interact with both the digital and that. So those are our 3 topics: focus on a niche, find balance, utilizing a second brain. Any of those sound good to anybody? Which one would you prefer us to take on first? Becky, Kylene, you can share your thoughts too.
I like all of them. Obviously, balance is something that's important to what Rise, Shine, Smile is all about, but I'm open. I think they all are great.
I agree. However, my planner's very blank this week. Maybe because I haven't been in the office, but I resonate with all of them at one point or throughout all of it. So I'm good to see on any of them. But
okay. All right. Well, we've got some votes already here, you guys. So this is awesome. Excuse me. Sarah says focus on a niche. Excuse me. Wow. Darren says focus on a niche. So that's 2 votes for focus on a niche. Here's the cool part, guys. We'll hit them all, but just in what order? Rena's vote is for balance. Karen's vote is for the second brain. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll stay tuned. Like I said, we'll get to all of them, but those are feels like focusing on a niche might be next week. So we'll see. Stay tuned.
We'll see if we get any more votes. Maybe we need to put a poll in the group.
Yeah. Actually, can I ask one of you guys to do that? I think people are probably getting tired of hearing from me all the time.
Kylene, I'm going to ask if you'll do that.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit more time right now.
All right. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to put more things on you there, Becky. Just
no,
get a different voice in there. All right. Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, let's call it, you guys. This has been a great conversation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Rising Tide Talks. Again, make sure to share this with your friends, get them over in the group, and you guys just have a fantastic week out there, and we'll talk to you same time next week, 5 o'clock Central Time.
Have a great week.
Have a good one. Bye, everyone.